In this video, I'm going to show you how to install a Link G4X plug-in ECU. So the car we're using is a Nissan Silvia S14, but this video can work for any car using the plug-in ECU. So specifically for the one we're using is the NS13X Link G4X plug-in ECU, and this works for the S13s as well as the pre-facelift S14s. So as long as they have the, I believe it is 76-pin connector, then this ECU will work. So, but like I said, this will work for any car that uses the plug-in ECU. The overall steps are going to be the same, but the details on like how to get the ECU out of your car might be a little different. So we're just going to jump right into it. So this ECU installs into the existing OEM ECU case. So what we got to do first is get the original ECU out of this car and split it open, and then we can get the circuit board from inside here installed into the ECU. Now, first things first, like always, when you're doing electrical work on your car, you want to make sure to disconnect your battery. I have this car in winter storage mode right now, so the battery is currently out of the car and sitting over there charging. You want to make sure you have a nicely charged battery. In fact, I'll be running the charger on the battery as we power up the ECU for the first time. So once the battery is disconnected, go inside the car, find out where your ECU is installed from factory. The S14s is on the passenger footwell here, so we need to take this little cover off. And there's a few, I think 10 mil bolts that will get this out, and another maybe an 8 mil, maybe a 10 mil to get the connector disconnected, and then we'll pull that all out and bring it over to the bench. Gotta be careful with this ancient JDM plastic. Easy. And there we go. All right, now that we've got our stock ECU out of the car, let's go over what we get with the Link ECU. So this is the NS13X, I believe, and it is for the S13 to S14 76-pin ECU. So connector kind of like that. So it comes with the ECU itself, and then the cable, which you'll need to plug this end into the ECU and run it through the case. And then that's the USB end that'll go into your computer to tune it. And then it also comes with a grounding strap. So when you're handling the ECU, make sure that you've always got the grounding strap. It also comes with a manual, which is good information on how to, first of all, how to handle the ECU without frying it, and then also how to get the ECU out of your car, as well as how to set this all up. So the first thing we're gonna have to do is take the stock ECU out of the case. Again, that's all listed in the manual here. So we'll remove it from the bracket, we'll split the case, and then take the circuitry out, and then put the new one in. Now, it's recommended to work on a metal surface with this grounding strap attached to your wrist, and to make sure you touch the metal surface often, so you don't fry any of the components inside the old board or the new one. So we got our piece of metal hooked up here, and we're going to take the ECU out of this case and then put the new one in. All right, so my disassembly went a little different than yours probably will, based on the fact that I believe this thing has actually been water damaged based on the amount of corrosion that I'm seeing here. So that's probably why my car wasn't running good in the beginning. So because of this, I had a couple of screws that were seized in there. So this one here I had to cut out, and I think I've mostly got it disconnected. Yeah, so hopefully you don't have to damage your ECU when taking it out like I did, but no harm, no foul, because this thing was already haggard. Yeah, this thing's done. So put that off to the side. And now I'm going to just tidy up my space, get the ECU case all cleaned up, because it does have some specs of whatever that is here, get it cleaned up and ready to accept the new board, and yeah, then we'll be able to install it, and then we'll set this all back up, make sure that we're wearing the wrist strap, and then we'll be good to go. So now that we've got the ECU taken apart, we need to find a way to get our tuning cable and our vacuum hose through. They do not fit through the factory holes, unfortunately. The vacuum hose may, but either way, I need to make some room for the tuning cable. So what I'll do is I'll just take this little flap here, bend it back a bit, and then I'll have some room that I'll be able to slide this out of the way and then slide the cable in, and then we'll be able to connect it all up. Now we're going to hook our wrist strap back up to our conductive surface, and we'll get our ECU and place it in the case. So again, you want to be very careful when doing this. Make sure that you're only grabbing the new ECU by the plastic header pin and put it directly onto the into the case. All right, so that's a bulk of the hard work done, and now you'll want to make sure that you've got your tuning cable connector coming out of the case, and then this is for our map sensor. I've got a vacuum hose run out here. Now, something I'm also doing is installing an expansion loom, which will fit into one of these terminals here, and that's going to allow me to run some extra inputs and outputs. And so that's something extra that you have to order from Link. It's only a few bucks, so it's definitely worth doing, just in the future if you do want to add any more sensors. Yeah, we'll get that plugged in and run out of the same place that the tuning cable and the map vacuum hose are. So here's the loom. It's a pretty long cable, and I'm pretty certain it goes into this one here where we have our temperature, voltage, digital ins and outs, as well as a ground and a 5-volt supply. There we go. That's all done. Oh, there's one more thing to do. So now that we've got our ECU in the case with our connectors and our hoses and everything, there's only one last thing to do, and that's to apply a sticker so that if anyone ever goes inside of your ECU, they know what's up. Boom. All right, now we've got to make our way to the car and get the ECU installed. So temporarily, I'm just going to lay it on the floor. I'm going to plug the main connector in and then plug the map sensor vacuum line input in, and then we're going to put the battery back on, turn over the key and get some power to this unit, and then plug it into the laptop and get the initial programming done. So we've got the battery hooked back up, and we got a charger plugged into it so we can maintain proper voltage. So now we're going to get everything plugged into the laptop. We're going to pull up our Link ECU software. We've got it plugged in with USB. The next step is to turn the key to power or to ignition, and then make sure that we can see the ECU, and then do some base map installs and some basic configuration. So we've got it plugged in, and it looks like it installed the drivers. So we will launch the software. And now I do believe we need to turn the key to the on position. So fuel pump is on, gear shift settings are locked, okay. ECU is disabled. Okay, so it's found the ECU. My fuel pump is not turning off, so I am going to turn it off. All right, so I had a few technical difficulties there. The biggest thing was my battery was quite low, so I tried charging it and it didn't work, so I ended up getting a new one. It now cranks a lot better, and I don't see quite the same voltage drop that I was seeing in the Link ECU. So now the second thing that I had a problem with was my timing. So here under the trigger calibration, which is one of the things that you're supposed to do in the Link manual, will tell you to do this before your first startup, is you need to figure out your timing and your timing offset. And so I didn't know this until I went to the forums. I put a post and I just said I was having problems with this car, this ECU and everything. And yeah, they figured it out pretty quickly. So essentially the timing offset was 0. And I need to have that as, they recommended minus 100 to start with to see if your timing light is getting near the timing marks. And so I did that, and I had someone crank, and I got minus 70 offset. That's where I got the sweet spot of seeing 10 degrees before top dead center on my timing marks on my crank pulley. So once I did that, it seems like it wants to start now, even with the fuel pump off. I guess the residual fuel in the line or whatever was enough for it to want to start. So it's looking much better than before. So now that that's all figured out, I'm going to attempt another first start. So let's just get to it. So that's actually a pretty successful startup. It did sound like it was missing. I don't know if that's because of my timing light setup here, where I've got a, the old trick of putting a old style spark plug lead in between your first coil pack and the spark plug. I don't know, maybe this isn't making a great connection. I am getting a good signal on my timing light, so that's a good thing. At least I knew that my timing was kind of correct, and I could tell by the way it's running. Yeah, it definitely smells gassy, and my AFRs were quite rich. So obviously some stuff's got to be adjusted. The ECU manual does say to go and adjust your fuel tables or your main rich or lean setting, but I didn't do that. Really what I wanted to do here is just make sure that the ECU can run the car to an extent, so I can bring the car to the tuner and get them to fix everything and just adjust all the settings correctly so that it runs 100%. So I can plug the old ECU back in and drive it to the shop and then swap ECUs and then get them to do the final tuning. So yeah, there's a few more things I have to do, like I don't have the IAT sensor in. I did get my intercooler piping, the bung for the IAT sensor, I got that welded in. So I need to now install my front mount intercooler so I can use that pipe, and then I have to run that wire from the IAT sensor to the ECU to my expansion loop. Once I do that, that should take care of the last check engine light that I currently have, and then there's a bit more I want to do, just replace spark plugs and fuel filter, do an oil change, just those small things to get ready to send over to the dyno. So I'm going to take care of that another time. For now, that's all for this video. If you're also interested in Turbo Civics and racing at the racetrack and just some fun builds, we're building a Fast and Furious style show car. We're building a Turbo Civic, and we just have all sorts of stuff going on. And we're always grinding hard and having a good time. So yeah, if you're interested in this type of stuff, give us a subscribe, give us a like, give us a comment down below. We appreciate you watching this far, and we'll see you in the next video.